Hi, I'm Lauren, and I am from a lot of places. My business is Peacock's Nest Studio, and there I make a whole bunch of stuff, including the paper quilling. But oh, that wasn't supposed to happen. Um, including the paper quilling and masks, and I made uh, the absinthe scented hand sanitizer that is in the swag boxes. I also have steampunk face masks, which are fun. They are specifically made for people who have glasses because I hated things tugging on my ears. And as it turns out, they're great for hearing aids as well. That's my ad. I'm going to stop now and talk about one of my favorite arts, Victorian paper quilling. When I look up the history of this, it's I keep seeing a lot of the same things over and over. It probably goes back to the 16th or 14th or 13th century, uh, possibly back to China where they invented paper, and probably in Egypt. Nobody knows. Um, Part of the problem is I think that a lot of people think that paper would be covered in gold paint, and then people would think that something that was decorated with paper was actually decorated with gold filigree, and they're not going to destroy it to find out. So I think that's where the confusion comes in. But there is lots of information and lots of evidence and extant pieces coming from the Victorian era. Um, Joe makes a box, decorates a box with paper for Beth in Little Women, among other things. Um, so we're going to go through some of the stuff in the kit, and we're going to make one of the flowers. Oh, I should probably point out the flower on the intro card. That is not mine. The really beautiful purple piece. Um, although looking at that, I'm thinking that wouldn't be too hard to make. So maybe that's the flower we'll come up with today. Um, so if you've got your kit, go ahead and get that out. I'm not going to go through everything in it, but that kit I like because it has pretty much all the basic tools. So your basic tools are, of course, that's the one thing that I didn't find was where the heck did my quilling tool go? Ah, there it is. Okay, so I usually use one that's purple. Today's is wooden. It is, I don't know how much of a focus you can get, but if you can see, the top is kind of like the top of a needle with the top of that cut off. So it's a little uh, U shape um, and stuck in a handle, and that's all it is. The one in your box has it has a slotted tool on one side, and the other side is some sort of murder weapon. I don't know what it's for. It's a really, really, really sharp, pointy uh, thing. I guess it's for if people get too close to your quilling, you can encourage them to go away. Um, don't kill anybody on my account. Paper isn't worth it, and you'll never get the stains out. So that's your quilling tool. They come in lots of different shapes and sizes. This one is fairly thick. Um, I have another one where the sticky outy bit is much thinner. It's probably about 2/3 of that size. That's really nice because we're going to be doing coiling, and it's nice because it closes the coil inside very tightly. Um, so that's the really important part is you have this, and then you have your quilling paper. There are lots of different places to buy quilling paper. There's some in your box. I really, I've bought from all kinds of different places. I actually bought a quilling business myself a couple of years ago, and of course have not done anything with it. So um, that's a project for this winter. So if you want to keep up with this, which would be awesome, do check back with that because I will have supplies available. So they usually come in folded in a little piece of paper, in a little plastic envelope. There are two sizes, 17 and 24 inches. I don't know why. They're usually bound together by a little sticky bit at the end, like the part that binds the back of a paperback book. This one is red. It is red on both sides. It is red on the edge. It's pretty standard. You can certainly go a lot of different ways from plain solid color. This one I like because it's pink on one side and purple on the other. This one is super shiny, or it's white on one side, plain solid matte white, and super metallic shiny on the other. Then there's regular metallic. When you're buying silver and gold paper, it's really important that you buy all of the same, all the stuff that you might need for the same project at the same time. They do tend to be, they tend to vary widely, especially from brand to brand. This is gold, and this is gold. They are both labeled gold, and if you look on the edge, they're actually, it doesn't really show because they're in the paper, but they're actually really similar on the edge, but or on the flat bit, I should say. But on the edge, they're super different. This would be fine if I was doing something where I was just going to see the edge of the paper. This I would only want to use like as an outside or a border. Some of the pieces, I make a lot of snowflakes, especially this time of year. Sorry, I'm trying to see the chat, move things around so I can see the chat better. Oh, yes. Yes, the flower in my hair is, without taking, I have bin of flowers. Without taking it out of my hair, it looks pretty much like this one. And this one is made with, you can see the green is green with lighter green on the inside paper. The inside of the center bit is solid green, wrapped with white, and then that is wrapped with gold. So I was talking about using the paper that you could see on the edge, where you could see the flat bit. This is a good example of when you would want to use something where you can see the edge versus the flat bit. So yeah, I was really surprised at how well these, I'm backwards, I was really surprised at how well these guys hold up. I was at Aresia, a science fiction convention in Boston a few years ago, and we got caught outside in a rainstorm, and I'd forgotten that I was wearing it until I got inside, and it was very cold and yucky, and my head was completely soaked for a good probably half hour. I got in, and I took it off, and oh, if you hear any honking in the background, that is my son. He has a cold. That's okay. I just wanted to let them know what that was. Oh, it's okay if you don't have the kit. This is stuff that you can get. I sell stuff, but it's basic materials. You can get it pretty much anywhere. Or actually, I take that back. You can get them from a lot of places online. Michael's Crafts does not carry quilling stuff. Joann's does, and AC Moore does. And of course, there's lots and lots of places online, and eventually my website. But it's kind of neat. Once you get the idea of how to make the basics of each shape, you can look at a design and go, oh, okay, I know how that one is built. Like I looked at the flowers on the initial picture for this presentation, and they were really pretty. And I'm totally stealing the 6-petal design, but I know how it was made because I can see sort of how things were shaped in there. So yeah, so you'll need a quilling tool. You don't technically need a tool. Technically, you are rolling stuff in a circle. You can totally do that by hand. It will take longer than with the tool. One of the advantages of doing it by hand is that the coil that you make can be a lot smaller because there doesn't have to be space in the middle for that tool. Another useful thing that's in the kit is a quilling comb. You can wrap the paper back and forth around this. You can also use the 10-cent black men's hair comb that you can find it anywhere. Those are nice because it gives you options as to how big or small to make the loops or the squiggles. That's an option. That's quilling comb. Another thing that's super useful is a circle tool. You can get the circle tools that have that like draftsmen use, kind of circle tools that it's just a template. I like this one. It's foam. And it's really useful for determining what size your eventual shape will, or your eventual design will be. So you're going to start by coiling up some paper, and once the paper is in a circle, you can put it in one of these cones, and it will or in one of these circles, and it will expand to be just that size. So if you're making a whole bunch of the same size thing, it makes sure that they're actually the same size. Another super useful thing is a foam board. I bought this foam board. It had a piece of paper on the other side. It was specifically for quilling, but it doesn't have to be. It can just be a piece of hard foam. I'm making a hat, and well, there's a couple of things you can see. What I have on here, this is the brim of the hat. Underneath it is the paper that I printed out for making snowflakes on, which is 6 figures. But this here kept coming apart. I don't know why that happened to be a point of tension for this design, but it was. So I tried gluing it and holding it and gluing it and holding it and gluing it and holding it, and it didn't work. So then I remembered, hey, I have this foam board, and I glued it, and then I put little stick pins in to hold it where I wanted it and let it dry overnight, and it should be fixed by now. I actually went out and bought map pins, which are really handy because they're short, and most of the paper that I'm using is pretty short. So now I'm gonna peel it off the paper. I should have put down some wax paper or plastic wrap first, but I didn't. Oh, I was saying I came home from I came home from the convention, and I took off my hair flower and tossed it in the bin with the other ones, and when I woke up in the morning, I couldn't tell which one it was. So it had gotten thoroughly wet and thoroughly cold, and had not suffered any damage at all, which I was really surprised by. I knew that they were pretty durable. I didn't know they were that durable. So now here's my hat base, which is actually holding it together. This is the hat brim. This is a rubber band, keeping it because I wanted it to dry in this particular shape. It's formed around a piece of cardboard. So that's going to go together, and then I'm going to do the top. This is a hat which quilling is very durable. It will stand up to almost anything. This was where I found out where that almost is. The brim broke off. It was not as well attached as it should have been. But the top is going to look something like this. So this is kind of my proto hat right now. So I will have this made. I'd hoped to have it made today, but I will have it made for the next steampunk event. Some other useful things are so you have You have the foam thing to measure how big you want the circles to be. You can also make open circles, and it's really useful to have something to wrap around, like I did here. This shape here, I made this shape, but you can also use just stuff you have around the house. Like this is my bottle of glue. Um, the kind of glue that I like to use is called PPE, which is perfect paper. Maybe it's PPA. Perfect paper adhesive. Yeah, PPA. Um, it is really, really low tack, which means that when you apply it, you're going to have to hold it for a couple of seconds. You don't need very much of it at all. So just apply a little tiny bit of it and let it dry for like 10 seconds or so, and then it'll hold. As opposed to like an Elmer's or something where you glue it and it's glued. The advantage of that is that you're going to get glue everywhere. And this is really thin and it dries clear. So if you use something like Elmer's, which you can, you will have glue flakes everywhere and you will get effects like that. You can't see that. Let me switch to the other camera. Is that better? That is not better. So figure out where the camera is. You can see that little glisten there. Yeah, that's a bunch of glue. That is not good. So, yeah, there's some glue on this one too. Okay, so it wants to focus like really high up. Oh well. So yeah, so the PPA is really useful stuff. I might as well stay down here. Having a needle tip is really handy for applying the glue. Yeah, so but if I'm going to do stuff with this, I can take I can wrap around this part, and there's a little ledge there, so I can say, okay, this is going to be, you know, maybe 2 wraps around that part or whatever, and then when I take, I would glue it in place, and then when I took it off, I would have a circle. Oh, you can see that. Sorry, I'm not used to having the upward camera there. Okay, so that's what I meant by wrapping. I mean, you know what the word meant. But if I glued that down, then when I took it off, I would have a nice circle. I'll show you. Other things that you can use are basically whatever you have lying around the house. With this one, I can make a tiny circle around here, or I can make a bigger circle around here. I can wrap around the bottle itself. Other things I have lying around the house that are circles. This is my mask refreshing spray, which I also have an absinthe scent on my website. So I can wrap around the base. I wonder if I move this up, if that would be more effective. That might be a little better. Okay, that's a little better. I'm sorry for the dizziness. Okay. Okay, so, oh yeah, that is better. All right, so yeah, so there's a spray, so I can wrap it around here. I can wrap it around this, or around this, or around that, or around here. So this one has a lot of options. The 5-hour energy bottle and the thyroid medicine, also very important, and lots of more spaces and places that you can wrap around. You can buy shapes that are graduated like this. I think I got these off of Wish or something, and this one is a square and a circle and a triangle, and they come in all different shapes. They were not terribly expensive. Um, I I don't use them as much as I use just stuff I have around. Uh, Here's some flowers that I had on my hat. These are fun because part of the way to make them is you cut like a spiral into the paper, and then you crunch it up completely to get sort of the wrinkled effect of the rose. Teaching that is, I remember the first time I taught this at Brass Ring, when I said, "Okay, now crumple up the paper," and there was this audible gasp as all of the people who had been crafting for years um, got to the part where you completely destroy the thing that you just made. But it made it better, which is fun. You can see I put a little bit of chalk on the inside to change the color a little bit. And those are just construction paper. So this is the time of year where I make snowflakes. This bit here is called a Malaysian petal because the person who invented it is from Malaysia. They are not hard to make. This stuff here is called honeycomb or beehive. And again, it looks way more difficult than it is. This is made with the comb that I showed you earlier. And it's all just held together. This one is a little bit older and has been bumming around in my box O. This is my box O stuff, and everything just gets sort of flung in there. And it's mostly okay with that. But it's don't do that. It's not a good idea. Yeah, this is the peacock feather that went on my hat. I'm going to be doing another peacock feather to go on my new hat. The new hat is going to be all purple, as my sweetie bought me a corset that's purple, and yeah, that's going to be fun. This is, it looks bedraggled, but it looks bedraggled in a completely peacock feather way. I am pleased by. You can make shapes. I really like this one. I like doing ornaments because they're made of paper. They're super light. They don't weigh anything, so you can put them. You don't have to actually hang them. If you have a tree, you can just sort of set it in the tree, and it'll just stay there. This is some more of the paper that's different colors on each side. It's teal and pale yellow, which is just lovely. So this is pretty much all the same shape. They're just this one is a circle that's pinched at two ends. This is a circle that's pinched at one end. And these are just really, really tight coils. This one was, yeah, I put some stuff on it to help stiffen it up, and it bled a little bit because I got it too wet. So, but this is pretty, it doesn't care so much. It's not cat-proof or toddler-proof, but other than that, yeah. Oh, that's a little bent. Okay, now it's not bent anymore. This is one of my favorite styles. And again, you can see the circle that's bent in one, just pinched in one corner. And these are circles that are pinched in one corner and then bent out. And yeah, I need to, this is before I had found the stiffening stuff that I liked. But it's got the single color here and then a metallic on the edge. So. Sometimes, speaking of edge stuff, there is paper that is all the same color except on the edge. So this one is white and blue, and now it's blue and white. And I think these only come in shiny. which I am certainly in favor of. Now, all of these that I have shown you are made with 1/8 or 3 mm um, paper, which is this big. This is what I started with. This is what most of the stuff that you find in stores is going to be. Most of the stuff that people out in the real world use is 1/4 inch, which is this stuff. And there is nothing wrong with this, but I've used the thinner stuff so much that this looks like bulky to me, which is unfortunate because it's still nice. You know, so whatever you end up using is fine. You can even cut your own. Just make sure that it's all the same length. A paper shredder is not going to give you fine enough detail. So let's make a thing. So I think that was really pretty in the intro. The paper on the intro. So I think I have two actually they're not the same. This one is pearl and this one is sparkle metallic. The difference between them is actually, oh, this one looks like it. Yeah, in the before times, I was a henna artist and face painter. Y'all have seen me at many steampunk events, I'm sure. And so I am innately drawn to glitter. So I saw the gold glitter in this, and now I'm totally in love with it. So now this is now my favorite because it's got gold glitter, which you can't see. That's really frustrating, just a little bit, but it has actual sparkles in it. So these are the same length, which I believe is 24. When I make, when I make designs, I tend to make recipes, and I will say things like half of the sparkle dark purple, or 1/3 of it. I don't necessarily measure. You certainly can. If you want to do 12 inches as opposed to half, or maybe this is 17. No, that looks like about a foot. Do it however is comfortable for you. This is another tool. It's similar to this one. I like this one because it's got holes that go all the way through. This one doesn't. It is still good for measuring. It also has a centimeter and an inch measurer here, and then it's made of foam, so you could use it for if you wanted to stick pins in it to hold things together. And I know they sell this at AC Moore, and I believe at Joann. So I'm going to use this one. And okay, I know one of the people who is on does not have a kit. Does the other one? Because I will talk this through differently, depending on how y'all are following. Basically, I want to know if any of the people who are on are the people who bought the kits. No? Okay. Then I shall proceed if not, as if not. Okay, so I'm going to start I'm going to start with half of this. So I'm going to fold it in half. Note I didn't say anything about scissors through all of this. You actually want a ragged edge. Since you're going to be doing a circle and gluing it down, the ragged edge will glue down much smoother. So I'm trying to see the point where you can actually see what I'm doing, but it's still in focus. So you get your tool. It's basically like threading a needle, except you can go in from the end. Oh, there are electric spinners. So if you have, if your hands are not strong enough to do this all by hand, you can certainly get one. I own one. I haven't tried it. So I've got this stuck in here, and I want to go to the very end so that the end of the paper here is parallel with it's like just right up at the end of the hole there, of the slot. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect, so realizing that is fine. So anyway, so then you start turning. I like to pinch. I'm not actually putting pressure here, but I'm putting my fingers on either side so that it's even. So see, this is it's not quite flat, but it's almost flat. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Quilling is weird. It's a thing that comes and goes in popularity. I did it when I was a kid and then didn't hear anything about it for years and years and years, and then found it again maybe 5 or 10, no, oh gosh, it's been longer than that, maybe 10 years ago. And I've been going ever since. Okay, so now this is fully coiled. It's not tight. It's you know, there's no holes in here or anything. The tension is even, but I'm not pulling on it. I'm just simply wrapping it around, and spinning this is easier than trying to wrap the paper. So I've got my finger on the edge of the paper, and I'm going to make sure to keep a finger there, because if you take your finger off, it will go spinning all over the place. If you have a cat, this is not a thing that you want to do in a room where there is a cat, because there is paper, dangly looking cat toy looking paper all over the place. It's hard to blame the cat for thinking that you're trying to play with it with the paper when you're not. Also, if you or anyone in your family has issues with there being little shards of paper all over the place, this is not the craft for you, because you will drop things and they will go rolling, and you may find them again at some point, probably. Okay, so I'm going to put my thumbnail right up next to, oh, this is hard to see. I'm going to put my thumbnail right up next to the coil and pull the tool out. So now I have this coil. Now I was talking about using this, using the tool versus not using the tool. You can see this one has a little hole in the center. That hole is because that's the size of the end of this tool. So as long as I keep my thumb or keep a finger on the end of this paper, it's fine. But now I want to size it, so I'm going to use, I'm going to use this one. I'm going to use a 5. As soon as well, actually you didn't see it because my hand was in the way, but I'm going to rewrap it. Okay. So as soon as I let it go, it just kind of, and it comes out and it fills up whatever space it's in. And I'm going to do that. I could take that out at this point. I'm just going to go ahead and do the next one. And I'm going to start with the cut end and spin toward the ragged end, because it's gonna be nicer. And with the thumbnail out, and put it in here. I numbered these. I numbered each size hole. So when I write down my crafting recipe, I know I need X number of size 5s. When I was doing, where did I put it? Where's my hat? When I was doing this bit, I needed, this is 37 size 6s. Each row of that is 37 size 6s. This row is 38 size 6s. These are in 1/3 of a strip. These are, no, sorry, yeah, 1/3 of a strip. These are half of a strip of size 5, and these are 1/3 of a strip of a size 6 that I kind of let go a little bit because I wanted something in between that size and I didn't really have it. So being able to reference of the exact size of circle that you want is really useful. So when you pick it up, another reason why I like this one as opposed to this one is I find it easier to pick up out of. So when you pick it up, it doesn't really matter how you do it as long as you are getting a good grip on most of it, so that it doesn't uncoil on you. If it does uncoil on you, and it will from time to time, but if it does, just do it again. It'll be a little tighter the next time, so you might have to, if sometimes it doesn't want to fill the center, you can kind of go back and forth a little bit and it'll uncoil. So when you put the glue on, I put the glue about 1/4 inch, and I put just a tiny, tiny amount. That's not even a drop. It's basically just enough to make it shiny. And then I smooth that down with my finger. And that's why we use, oh wow, I wish that were in better focus. This is why we use the, put a little bit more glue on, but not very much, just a tiny, tiny bit. This is why my fingers are all gluey. That makes a much nicer curve over the top. So now I have this coil. Sometimes they will coil neatly like this. That doesn't, okay, light is important. Oh, for goodness sake. Well, sometimes they will coil neatly like this, which you can't see, and sometimes they coil more openly. You can see the difference. You can see the background through this one. It's just a little bit more open, and it really depends on you and to your design of how important to you that is. If you want it to be more even, you can sort of hand coil it. Make sure you're going in the same direction. And this is evening out a little bit. Or you might want that effect. That might be, I want this particular one to be very even, but you might like having a thicker edge to the coil. I'm going to call this one good. Okay, and I'm going to make what's called a marquee. Possibly a marquise. I don't remember if there's an E on the end. Or an I, and just pinch on both sides. And once I've pinched it, I pinch it really hard, and then I hold it for a second, and then I let it go. this one, glue as well. Yeah. Just a tiniest, just enough glue that you can see that there's glue there. And rub that down. And actually, I think I've changed my mind. I think this one is going to be the outside rather than the inside. No, no, I'll do it the other way. Okay. So again, pinching the sides. Sorry, I have some arthritis in my fingers, so that horrible popping sound is just my joints. That's okay. Okay. And so now we have this lovely little marquise. Now I want to say it marquise. Silly. Okay. So the next one I'm going to do, I'm also going to use a half. When you're taking the pieces off of the strip, that edging can be a little thick, so just make sure you get the little plasticky bit off. And if you just want to tear off the end, that's fine too. So, not used to working this far in front of me. So, so this isn't perfect, and that's totally cool. It's, you know, it's a half-ish. Okay. So this one, I'm going to do the same thing. They all start the same way by making a little curly circle. Curly circle. Does anybody have any questions? No? Okay. I am not sure on this one if 4 and 7 are the same size, but 7 looks like it's a little smaller. I want something that's a little bigger than the 5 I just used, but not quite as big as the 4. So I'm going to use a 7. And I'm going to go ahead and do them all at once. I'm going to make 2 of the petals of the flower in the well, depending on, okay, and sometimes as you turn, it will do this when you try and take it off. That is unfortunate. I think it helps to have a fairly good vocabulary of swearing. I mean, you can always fall back on the classics, but it's nice to branch out every once in a while because there's an awful lot of get the on there. Okay. Paper responds fairly well to naughty language, I have found. This is a good Netflix craft because there's an awful lot of, I don't even have to look at this. I'm not looking at this. I'm looking at the screen. Doo-dee-doo-dee-doo. There's an awful lot of my fingers are just doing the same thing over and over and over, and I don't need to necessarily mind them. So it's I bring quilling to my gaming group, and I make things, all sorts of things. I've made a quilling TARDIS. I have a Princess Bride plan in the works. In my copious free time, I'm going to make a Princess Bride quilling piece. There are a couple of really good quilling websites, or not websites, Facebook groups, websites also. The websites are more for sales, but there's contemporary quilling, and there's also I think it's Quilled Creations. I'm on a couple of them, and I don't necessarily pay attention to the names. But if you look up on Facebook, people have been really, really nice and supportive of newbies and of saying, "Hey, what's this?" and "How did you do that?" And um, there are like monthly challenges and stuff. There's a steampunk challenge. I made a I made a steampunk. I made a whole bunch of gears out of gray and brown and black and brass pieces. I brought it with me to the last couple steampunk events that I've been to. It's gone now, but the gears actually fit together and you can turn them all by rotating the center one, uh, which I was very, very proud of. It did demonstrate why industrial gears are not made of paper. Because no matter how much stiffening you put in them, eventually they're going to get upset at you and start bending. Uh, but so that needs a little bit of revamping. But I think I know more than I did when I originally built it, so that will come back later. There's somewhere in this universe there is a video of that. Um, yeah, I was really proud of that. There are pictures from Brass Ring a couple of years ago where I was wearing my quilling hat, which I was very proud of. So I'm really excited to have this one again. See, the trouble with doing this is it's basically it's okay, you know how to do that? Good. Now do it 50 more times. Um, it does a lot of repetition. A lot of oops, that's went the wrong way. A lot of repetition. Okay, so this one I'm going to want to wrap around this guy. So it's not quite a marquise. It's more of a bendy frisbee kind of thing. Um, so if I was not going to do it on the piece, I would just like this. And I'm going to do that for all of them. So all the people that are on here now are assuming I'm on because you like makey stuff. I am big into making stuff. Um, so I don't remember if I mentioned or not, but I run Brass Ring, Steampunk Academy, and Cabaret, and we really focus on the history and classes, but we do the weird stuff. We do a lot of really fun and interesting Victoriana, and the Victorians are thoroughly weird. So yeah, we're learning history, but um, we're learning the odd side. And this is one of the things that I enjoy teaching at Brass Ring. I have a friend who I've been friends with her since we were, gosh, like 15. Now I'm going to glue two of these guys around this middle bit. So my friend came and she took the quilling class, and every once in a while she's just like run with it. She'll post these amazing pictures of stuff that she's created, and I love. Oh, thank you for the link. I love seeing that. So if you guys are looking at this and going, yes, that is what I want to do with the rest of my free time forever, or you know, until you're allowed to go out of the house again. That if you wanted to show me stuff that's like, because there's like nothing better for somebody that teaches stuff than to have somebody go, hey, I did this, and then I get to be, oh, I started that. Okay, so I glued this. I put very little glue on it, and I am holding it so that it molds tightly and sticks well. The corners can be a little wonky. Like I don't really I don't really like that I can see the lighter side through those, so I'm gonna pinch it closer on one side than on the other, and I'm gonna call the other side the inside. You're not gonna see that. Bless you. I really like the way that, and I don't know if this is translating. No, I guess it is. I like the way that you can see through the spaces between the paper. So because this glue, the PPA glue, is very light, if I decide that this isn't in the right place, I can mostly peel it apart as long as I do it when it's still wet. And yeah, a little piece stuck to it, but it's not that big a deal. Yeah, I've decided that I want the end to close more. And so I'm gonna, instead of putting it right in the center, I'm gonna put it more at the bottom. I must apologize for this webcam. I really thought that it was going, it does great focus at a distance, not so much, so it's good for, it's good for web conferences. It's not so much for this purpose, but okay, so now you cannot see the end. Oh, you cannot see the end of the lighter colored one. Okay, so I'm gonna hold that for a couple seconds. Yuck. Drippy is bad.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go out and have some air that's more dry.
You could open a window.
Yeah, I've been sitting in my bed all day.
Okay, so that is, it's not quite right. It's not quite all the way together. I really want it to be. So I can hold it longer, and eventually it will come to its, eventually it will come to the conclusion that it might as well just do that because I'm not going to leave it alone. But I can also sort of put it in a corner here. Okay, so now this is braced. Well, that dark on the dark doesn't work very well, but this is braced up against the corner here, and the edge is fully shut. So I'm going to leave that alone while I build the other one. And having learned from the first one, I'm going to build it so that the eye is a little further down one side, so it'll close on the other side. When you are building things that are not all squished together, things that are a little bit more open, it will look nicer if your it will look nicer if all your coils are in the same direction. This one is squished enough so that I don't think people are going to be able to tell which direction the coils are going to go. Yeah, that's going to want some pinning. But I am running very close on time here, and so I think I had another pin just a moment ago. Yes, as I can hear things falling off the table on the other side, because that's how I and everything around me rolls. Ha ha ha. Off the table, yes. So I'm going to put this pin right there, sort of secure that. I'm actually going to leave those right now. Now these petals are part of the on the main picture for the, let's switch back to actual me. So hi. So on the picture that they chose for the main part of the class, that was not my art. These guys here are petals from the flower on the left. I liked it enough to say, hey, I can make that, and I'm going to make that as part of the new flowers for my hat, which I'm very excited about putting in. I will be wearing this hat tomorrow during the sign-off, um, which so that gives me a nice deadline, but I have to finish it by then. So the hat itself shouldn't be a problem. I think that's about it. My website is peacocksneststudio.com. The I think I only put these. I think I only put these snowflakes on it. But if there was another snowflake that you liked, like this guy, and you wanted to get some, they're not terribly expensive, and they cost nothing to ship because they cost. Thank you, because they cost nothing to. They weigh nothing. Oh, speaking of weighing nothing, I grew up in the '80s, and we wore huge earrings made of steel. I found some old earrings of mine that were about an inch and a half, and they were pinwheels, and I don't remember how I was able to wear them. Like, I wear these, and that's about as heavy as I can do right now. Uh, so, making earrings out of quilling, they're completely weightless. You can make them as big as you want. Something like this, like I feel the ring here because it's got a jump ring on it. Oh, I forgot my camera over here. But I could easily wear this as an earring, and I wouldn't feel it at all. So if you like big earrings, if you like fancy earrings, this is a great way to go. Something if it's got little sticky outy bits, it will eat your hair, as things with sticky outy bits do. But other than that, there's yeah, go ahead. There are lots and lots of websites. There are lots and lots of free tutorials out there. There's a lot of stuff on YouTube. Um, it's fun. It's not difficult. Just requires a lot of patience with repetition. Um, if anybody wants to talk to me more about quilling, I'd be happy to point you in a direction. Just drop me an email, or you can hit me up on Facebook at Peacock's Nest Studio. And I think that's it. Me, and enjoy the rest of the program.